They tried to destroy what they couldn't even define. But the fire they aimed at you, it didn't burn you down. It forged you into something unshakable. Let's be clear from the start. They never hated you because you were broken. They hated you because you had the power to shatter everything they built on deception. They saw your greatness before you did. And instead of honoring your light, they feared it. So they declared war, not with truth, not with strength, but with envy, manipulation, and sabotage. Fake friends disguised as allies. Family in name, but enemies in spirit. They didn't want justice. They wanted your silence, your collapse. Because stealing your power was easier than confronting their own weakness. And yet, look at you, still here, still rising. Before we go any further, take a moment to like this video and subscribe. Let's make sure this message reaches every chosen one still lost in doubt, still dimming their light to make others comfortable. Every like, every comment tells the algorithm that this truth matters. And we need it to reach those still walking through the fire, not knowing they're being refined by it. Don't just feel inspired. Take action. Let's break it down. The assignment on your life was never meant for the weak. You know this not just because you've heard it before, but because you've lived it. This isn't just some motivational speech. It's spiritual warfare. It's surviving sabotage. It's breaking generations-old patterns that no one before you could. You inherited burdens that should have crushed you. Yet, you carry them with a strength that makes it look effortless. You weren't just chosen, you were engineered. The universe didn't just pick you by chance. It sculpted you, stripping away anything weak until only the unbreakable parts remained. That's why the journey has been so hard. That's why people turned against you. That's why everything you tried to hold on to eventually fell away. Because where you're going can't be shared with those who prayed for your downfall. And yes, you've doubted yourself. Don't pretend you haven't. There have been nights you questioned your own strength, wondered if the isolation was your fault, or if maybe you were just imagining the attacks. That self-doubt was their last weapon. They couldn't defeat you outright, so they tried to make you destroy yourself with confusion. But deep down, something inside you refused to die. Even when you fell apart, you found the strength to get back up. Even when your mind was battling, your spirit kept whispering, "You're not done yet." And that whisper, it wasn't wishful thinking. It was alignment, a reminder that your purpose wouldn't let you break the way others did. You're called to end the cycles that broke those before you. You carry answers your enemies never had the courage to seek. You're living proof that curses are powerless when a chosen one shows up. The true power of being chosen doesn't reveal itself in moments of comfort, but in chaos. It haunts your enemies because in the end, they realize you weren't the threat. Your awakening was. Your presence brought their darkness to light, and your glow wasn't arrogance. It was undeniable evidence. Now that you've survived everything meant to break you, the only thing left is to rise unapologetically into the power they hoped you'd never discover. No more self-doubt, no more dimming your shine, no more pretending you don't know who you are. The assignment on your life isn't for the faint of heart. And you've accomplished the impossible. Never forget that, and don't ever let them forget it either. If you're feeling this, drop a comment with the number 88 below. This isn't just another message. It's confirmation. You didn't imagine your calling. You didn't survive for nothing. And what you've already made it through would crush most people. Let's talk about what it truly means to be chosen, because the weight you carry would have crushed most people. When you broke down, they laughed. But now that you've rebuilt yourself from the ashes, those same people are choking on their own shock and disbelief. What brought others to their knees has become your crown. Let's be real. They never expected you to make it this far. It wasn't just doubt. They bet against you, whispered behind your back, eagerly awaited your downfall, and quietly celebrated your struggles. Why? Because deep inside, they knew they couldn't last a day carrying the burdens you bear. Every time they mocked your pain, it was a confession. They knew they couldn't survive it themselves. You're not just exhausted. You're carrying decades of family dysfunction, centuries of ancestral silence, chains passed down like unwanted inheritance. The load you shoulder would have crushed almost anyone else, and that's exactly what terrifies them. You weren't born into comfort. You were dropped into battlefields. emotional, mental, and spiritual war zones. Most people inherit riches or wisdom, but you inherited wounds. Trauma was handed to you as a tradition, and you were taught to accept pain as if it was normal. And for a while you did, until something within you finally asked, why am I carrying what they refuse to heal? That's when everything changed, when your true assignment got activated. And let's be honest, that's also when the attacks started coming harder. Because when a chosen one wakes up, the whole dysfunctional system starts to glitch. You weren't just selected to survive. You were designed to interrupt. You're the one meant to stand up and say, this cycle ends with me. Don't downplay that truth. It's not just a positive affirmation. It's cosmic warfare. Cycles don't break quietly. They shatter and they fight back. Every time you chose healing over hiding, discipline over chaos, solitude over codependency, you triggered every energy that's kept your bloodline trapped for generations. Ever wonder why your road has been so heavy? Why the pain comes in relentless waves? Why betrayal cuts so deep? Or why the silence feels suffocating? It's because you weren't just fighting for yourself. You were fighting for many. The pain you've endured isn't proof that you're cursed. It's confirmation that you're the one strong enough to confront what everyone else tried to escape. And even with all that, you still doubted your strength, didn't you? You wondered, why me? Why does it have to be this hard? You looked at others breezing through life and felt a bitterness, a sense of being overlooked. But let's make this clear. You weren't forgotten. You were forged, forged in pressure, in fire, in betrayal, and silence. Not for display, but for purpose. The universe didn't abandon you. It equipped you in isolation. You learned to shine in the darkness, to find light without the sun. That depression you fought in secret sharpened your discernment. The anxiety you battled in public gave you awareness. That breakdown you barely survived became the foundation for your transformation. Think of all the greats. Maya Angelou, who didn't rise without pain. Nelson Mandela, who didn't lead without prison. Who wasn't celebrated until after being counted out. Their strength wasn't born in applause, but in silence. In seasons that would have destroyed most souls. You see their shine now, but rewind their stories. And you'll find darkness and struggle just like you. You keep asking, why is it so heavy? Why is it so hard? But the real question is, how are you still standing after all that? After everything's said and done, after sabotage and spiritual attack, after betrayal and ancestral weight, yet here you are. You are not fragile. You are forged. You are not behind. You are being aligned. It's time to stop acting like you're just lucky to be here. No, you are chosen, assigned, built for this. You didn't just survive the fire. You became the fire. They don't fear your words. They fear your existence. Because nothing they threw at you stopped your rise. It only sped it up. They've watched you get attacked and still rise. They've seen you lose everything and still walk with authority. Now they're choking on their confusion, wondering how you keep glowing when you should have faded away. That's the power of being chosen, and here's what they'll never admit. They saw it in you before you did. They noticed you didn't fit in, didn't fold, didn't follow. You questioned, you dreamed, you reacted. You felt more deeply. They didn't hate you. They feared the you that could no longer be controlled. Wonder why people flipped on you for no reason. Why old supporters became your loudest critics. Your growth exposed their stagnation. Your healing revealed their wounds. Your self-love triggered their self-loathing. You became a mirror they couldn't stand to face, so they tried to break the reflection. But a broken mirror just cuts deeper when you try to smash it. And through it all, you still showed grace. You tried to explain your pain to people determined not to understand. You tried to prove yourself to those who only saw your light as a threat. You forgot that being chosen isn't about comfort. It's about being called, about enduring the cross before the crown, the battle before the breakthrough. You can't ask for purpose and ease in the same breath. Now you're waking up to that truth, and the power is shifting. You feel it. They feel it. The universe has always felt it. No more shrinking, doubting, or apologizing for being the only one who didn't collapse. Let the world be uncomfortable with your rise. Let your enemies choke on your peace. Let the watchers watch. Because what they tried to crush has created something No lie can kill. You were born into burning houses and became both the extinguisher and the architect. You didn't just carry the weight, you became the foundation for something new. And those who underestimated you are learning the hard way. Being chosen isn't about luck. It's about being unstoppable. Quick pause, family. If this message resonates with your soul and you want to support this sacred work, feel free to buy me a coffee. It keeps this space alive with truth, light, and clarity. The link is in the description. And don't forget to drop 88 in the comments. Let's keep going. Let's get brutally honest. These people played dirty and still lost. They tried to bury you with lies, dug your grave with their twisted stories, and now they're the ones suffocating beneath the weight of the deception they created. There's no need to sugarcoat it. They did everything in their power to bring you down. Not because you were in the wrong or harmful or broken, but because you were strong enough to stand on your own. That level of strength offends the weak, unsettles the insecure, and angers those who only feel powerful when they're controlling everyone around them. So, they lied, rewrote the truth, twisted every moment to fit their own narrative. They staged fake scenes, played the victim in stories they directed from the shadows, whispered rumors just loud enough to spread, smiled in your face while sharpening knives for your back. And through it all, you never stooped to their level. You didn't retaliate or play their game. You stayed silent while they screamed, remained grounded while they spun out of control, chose growth while they chased gossip. That's what destroyed them in the end. Chosen ones don't clap back with drama. We clap back with elevation. Now those same people are drowning in the shadows they tried to cast over your life. The universe was watching everything. The loss, the manipulation, the false narratives. Energy never forgets. And what they sent out is coming back around harder and faster than they ever imagined. Your silence was never weakness. It was strategy. It was alignment. It was living proof that the universe can fight battles for you far better than your own hands ever could. Let them keep lying. The truth doesn't need their permission to rise. And now look at them. Everything they wished on you is happening to them. Everything they hoped you'd suffer through is sitting right in their lap. They thought they were clever, always 10 steps ahead. But in reality, they were playing checkers in a universe made for chess. The traps they set for you caught their own feet. The walls they built to box you in have become their own prisons. Some of them can't sleep, not out of guilt, but because their lies are unraveling right before their eyes. They live in fear of exposure, terrified that the truth will finally reach the people they manipulated. And the universe is meticulous. It doesn't just return energy, it exposes character slowly and publicly until everything hidden comes to light. So let me turn this on you, chosen one. How dare you still doubt your own power? After all you've survived, after everything they did, how dare you question yourself? You weren't too sensitive. You weren't imagining things. And you definitely weren't crazy. You were targeted because your light was already stirring before you even recognized it yourself. And that terrified them. Stop rewriting history in your head. If you had bowed, they would have kept you beneath them forever. Your strength forced their hand. Your refusal to fold revealed their true nature. Now every consequence they face isn't a curse you sent. It's simply the result of your refusal to collapse. Your glow, your peace, your relentless rise is the justice. You didn't have to lift a finger. Their own world is falling apart because the universe protects those with pure intentions. Even when their voices go silent, you don't need to prove anything. Your life is proof enough. And trust, they see it. Every post, every step you take, every time you refuse to break, they break a little more. They played dirty and still lost because they went to war with someone who never raised a weapon. You were too busy healing, evolving, and building. Your evolution exposed their lies. Now they're trapped in the roles they performed for so long, tangled in their own web of deception. The people they turned against you are finally starting to notice. The cracks are showing. The timelines don't add up. The energy is off. Meanwhile, your peace is louder than their chaos ever was. That's your reminder. They didn't win. They just made a mess so huge they can't clean it up. They called down storms, and now they're drowning in their own floods. You kept walking, kept growing, kept choosing your own elevation over ego. And that's why you're winning in ways they'll never comprehend. They thought they could bury you with lies. What they didn't realize was that you were a seed. Now you've risen and bloomed far beyond their reach. Don't look back with doubt. Look back with clarity, with gratitude, and with power. Because their betrayal revealed just how indestructible you truly are. That's why they're haunted. Not by what they did, but by the fact that it didn't work. They tried to copy your glow, but they could never survive your fire. They didn't just admire you. They studied you obsessively, hiding their envy behind fake praise and forced smiles, watching your every move like it was a set of instructions they could follow. They weren't interested in your well-being. They were desperate to unlock the secret of how you kept shining through the storms that would have broken them. They tried to mimic your light, but what they didn't realize was that your glow was born from surviving the heat, not from chasing attention. You weren't just radiating light. You were burning from the inside out, built by battles and tempered by silence. Every bit of confidence, every ounce of strength was earned in moments when nobody was clapping for you. They overlooked the struggle and only craved the outcome. So they tried to mimic your look, borrowed your words, tried to step into shoes that were never made for them. Now, as they tried to live in your light, they're choking on smoke from a fire they weren't built to endure. They thought your light was just a matter of style, charm, or some surface-level trick they could copy. But your glow isn't a performance. It's survival. You don't look like what you've survived, but make no mistake, you've walked through hell and come out the other side. The shine they envied was the universe's reward for all you overcame, and that energy can't be faked. You can't wear resilience like a fashion statement. You become it, scar by scar, in silence and in suffering that no one else ever saw. That's why they're unraveling now. They called down a level of heat that was never meant for them. They tried to look royal but collapsed under the weight of a crown they could never carry. Because your crown was forged from broken pieces you refused to let destroy you. They didn't see the lonely nights, the tears, the silent wars you fought just to get out of bed. They never had to face your demons, but somehow they wanted your light. Now they sit in confusion, wondering why their imitation feels hollow. Why no matter how closely they mimic your moves, they can't find the peace that flows so effortlessly from you. The truth is, the universe never blesses impersonators. It blesses those in true alignment. And alignment can't be copied. It can only be lived. Let's be clear, chosen one was from. Never shrink yourself just because others try to clone you. Never doubt your uniqueness because they try to wear your essence like a mask. Their imitation is proof of your power. The very fact that they can't be themselves around you reveals just how influential and irreplaceable you truly are. What they never understood is that trying to imitate a chosen one means taking on consequences they were never built to bear. Your fire was designed for you alone. It knew your spirit before you knew your purpose, and that's why it transformed you. They tried to post your essence like a costume and walk straight into a storm they thought was just style, only to be burned from the inside by a fire they can't control. The unraveling they're experiencing isn't just karma, it's exposure. Their masks are melting, the illusions falling away, because the same energy that anoints the chosen will destroy the pretender. You keep wondering why they both tried to copy you and tear you down at the same time. It's because your light reminded them of everything they weren't willing to become. Your discipline exposed their laziness. Your authenticity revealed their performance. Your healing showed them every wound they refused to face. They wanted to dim your shine while wearing your reflection. But you cannot become what you refuse to walk through. They wanted the throne but were unwilling to crawl through the fire. Now, even if it's not public, you can feel it. Their energy is off. Their spirit is glitching. Nothing flows for them. That's not a curse, it's the price of imitation. You can't steal alignment. You can't fake endurance or skip the suffering and expect the strength. Remember who you are. You didn't just survive the fire, you became the flame. The glow they envied is the result of your pain, your patience, and your power, something they will never understand. Now that their mask is off and their pretending has exposed them, let them sit in the heat they weren't called to carry. They tried to copy your glow but couldn't survive your fire. And that's exactly why they'll never win. You keep asking, why me? And the universe keeps answering, because only you could. You cry out in frustration, forgetting that the crown you wear was forged in fire, that you're built for storms that would have broken others in moments. Let's stop pretending and playing small. Your struggles feel unfair. Your path feels lonely. And you wonder why you had to endure the pain while others live in ease. But every time you ask, the universe repeats itself. Only you could handle this. The truth is, you weren't abandoned. You were separated, set apart with precision, because those around you couldn't breathe the same air as your calling. Your isolation isn't exile, it's elevation. You were being refined while others were distracted, breaking generational patterns, healing wounds you didn't create, and fighting battles most would run from. The pain you carry isn't proof you're not chosen, it's proof that you are. This journey was never meant for the weak. So let's flip the question. Why not you? Who else could have survived betrayal, abandonment, spiritual warfare, and self-doubt, and still kept their heart pure? Who else would use their pain to build rather than destroy? Only you. You've turned loss into power, silence into strength, and setbacks into new beginnings. Chosen doesn't mean celebrated. It means separated so you could be poured into, so you could remember who you truly are. Now, as you rise in the very strength you thought you lost, don't shrink or apologize for your journey. Don't ask, why me, when the answer is clear. Only you could carry this weight, break these chains, and walk through the fire with your light still shining. You were designed for impact, not just for yourself, but for everyone whose hope depends on your breakthrough. So stand tall, stop questioning, and walk like you remember who you are. You're not average. You're not replaceable. You are called. And deep down, you already know. Only you could. This isn't burnout, it's breakthrough. They thought you were falling apart, but you were just shedding what was never meant for you. You're not breaking down. You're breaking through. All that exhaustion, anxiety, heaviness, and sleeplessness isn't dysfunction. It's transition. What feels like failure is actually a shift in your frequency. The old you is being peeled away so the real you can rise. Upgrades require shutdowns, and your entire system, body, mind, and spirit, is recalibrating for your next level. Everything not aligned with your elevation is being stripped away, and that feels messy, lonely, and even painful. But that's growth. Think about it. Your cravings, your habits, your relationships, even your sense of self, they've all changed. You're not crazy, you're becoming clearer, more yourself than ever. Shedding an old skin isn't pretty, but it's necessary. You're not collapsing, you're transforming, leaving behind every version of you that played small or settled. The discomfort you feel isn't the end. It's the birth of a new alignment. That's why everything seems to fall apart. Your new reality can't be built on old fragments. People may say you've changed, and you should thank them because staying the same would have destroyed you. Stop seeing discomfort as failure. This process is sacred, messy, and absolutely necessary. If you want real growth, you have to let go of your old identity and surrender to the transformation. This isn't weakness, it's your spirit expanding. You're not just here to survive this shift, you're here to lead through it. You are living proof that chaos can birth clarity and pain can birth purpose. So breathe, rest if you need to, but keep moving forward. You're not breaking. You're breaking through. You were the brick that refused to crack, so they called you the problem. You didn't fight with fists. You stood in truth, and that alone rattled their insecurity. That's how it goes. When they can't control you, they try to discredit you. If they can't shake your foundation, they shake the room and blame you for the tremors. You questioned manipulation, spoke up when the energy was off, and stayed rooted in your truth, which threatened small minds. People who benefit from your silence always see your voice as violence, so they twisted your strength into aggression and labeled your boundaries as bitterness. They needed you broken because your wholeness exposed their dysfunction. You still wonder why they turned on you. It's because you didn't fold, didn't fake, and refused to play the role they assigned. You became a mirror, and they hated their own reflection. It's not that you were the problem, you exposed the problem. Your presence revealed their hypocrisy, and instead of healing, they projected. They couldn't gaslight you, so they convinced others you were unstable. If you'd stayed quiet and small, they'd have loved you. But you didn't let lies go unchecked, and that made you dangerous. So they isolated and villainized you, trying to bury you in their narrative. The wild part is you almost believe them. You question your clarity and shrank your power. But now you see the pattern and feel the shift. You're realizing you were never too much. You were just too real for their illusion to survive. You didn't crack, bend, or vanish. You rose, scarred but stronger, with clarity they can't name. Now their story is falling apart, and the truth you live is outlasting their lies. They called you the problem, but you were always the reckoning, the mirror, the brick, the truth in a room full of masks. And deep down they know it. You didn't just break the curse. You burned the entire blueprint. You weren't sent just to survive. You were meant to disrupt. Now everything built on dysfunction is turning to ash, because your healing wasn't just personal. It was generational. This wasn't just about cutting off toxic people or learning self-love. It was a divine assignment to end what everyone before you either ran from or passed down in silence. You didn't just stop a cycle. You destroyed the system it operated on. The weight felt unfair, but it was necessary. You were carrying pain and patterns that started long before you were born. Unlike those before you, you didn't numb it or ignore it. You confronted it, set it on fire, and refused to hand it to the next generation. The attacks were brutal, the isolation deep, because you were ending what had been accepted for centuries. You were the glitch in your bloodline, the sacred interruption. Every force that tried to hold you back knew it the moment you started saying no. Still, you kept going, even when it made no sense. Now that the dust has settled, realize this. Your healing isn't just for you. It's prophetic. Every boundary you set, every truth you chose rewired the future for everyone connected to you. Cycles that lasted centuries end with your name. Don't downplay. This wasn't just healing, it was a spiritual revolution. You walked through the pain and came out blazing, refusing to pass your wounds forward. They may act like they don't notice, but deep down, bang, they know your growth exposed their stagnation. Your peace forced them to face their own chaos. You challenged every structure that owned your bloodline and rewrote the rules. When you wonder, why me? Remember, no one else had your fire, your voice, your soul. You weren't chosen to survive quietly. You were chosen to disrupt loudly. Now that you've broken every limitation meant to bury you, you stand tall. You're the new blueprint. The ones who follow will rise because you made it possible. You didn't just survive, you reshaped the future. Walk with that, own it, never shrink again. That's all for today. Dear Father, I pray for the growth of my faith. Help me trust you even when physical evidence is lacking. Let me believe in your perpetual presence, knowing you will never harm me. I understand that your thoughts for me are thoughts of prosperity and not harm, to give me a good future. Thank you, gracious and eternal Father, for always listening to my voice. I offer up this prayer to you in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you, Jesus, for your love and provision. I am grateful for your presence in my life and the abundance you bring. If this video resonated with you, please like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with those who need to hear this message. Leave a comment below about your journey and how you are preparing for your own triumphant return. If you'd like to support our work, please consider contributing through Buy Me a Coffee. This helps us continually improve our content to offer you the best. The link to Buy Me a Coffee is in the description. No gift is too small. Whether it's a penny, a prayer, or a share, your generosity helps spread God's word and brings hope to others. Don't stop here. Watch our next video for powerful revelations about the signs that reveal you are the chosen one. We've enjoyed following this spiritual journey with you. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Keep shining brightly and embrace your destiny with courage. See you next time. Blessings to all the beautiful souls from the on.